It's like sometimes I have socks to wear to work and sometimes I don't.
And
But
sometimes I don't have dishes, but
but
most of the time I do. Hey everybody, welcome into Folklore and Flourish. You're here with Jane and Mark over at Blue Box. Today is February 20th. We are in the final 2 days of week 3, Love Lost and Found. Today is the test again. So we are at February 20th. The test again in our theme is Love Retested. So we are finding our love again, but now at the brink of fully reunited with it. We will be tested again. We will be confronted again. Our love will be. We're going to look at that through 4 folklore stories per use. They're going to be Greek, Hindu, Japanese, and European folklore stories. So we will see you right after this. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. Story 1. Odysseus and Penelope reunited. In Greek myth, love is not proven by longing alone. It is proven by endurance. For 20 years, Penelope waited. 10 years of war in Troy. 10 years of wandering across seas haunted by monsters, storms, and gods who delighted in delay. Odysseus, king of Ithaca, had vanished into legend. Some believed him dead, others believed him faithless. But Penelope did not remarry. Suitors filled her halls. They feasted on Odysseus's livestock. They pressed her daily for decision. Ithaca was leaderless, vulnerable. The kingdom strained under uncertainty. She delayed them with intelligence. By day she wove a burial shroud for Laertes, Odysseus's father. By night she unraveled her work in secret. The loom became her weapon. Patience became her resistance. Years passed. Meanwhile, Odysseus survived shipwreck, enchantress, Cyclops, and the lure of immortality itself. Calypso, a nymph, offered him endless life if he would stay. He refused. Not because immortality was unappealing, but because it was not home. When at last he returned to Ithaca, he did not stride into his halls as king. Athena disguised him as a beggar. His palace did not recognize him. His servants did not bow. Even his son, Telemachus, struggled to believe the ragged man before him was father returned. And Penelope? She did not rush to embrace him. This is the test. She had waited 20 years. She had endured humiliation, pressure, loneliness. She had built her strength from uncertainty. Love does not erase caution. After Odysseus defeated the suitors, reclaiming his hall in blood and strategy, Penelope still did not surrender to relief. She needed proof. So she asked a question. She instructed a servant to move their marriage bed. Odysseus reacted instantly. The bed could not be moved. It had been carved from a living olive tree rooted into the earth. He himself had built it, shaping the room around it. It was immovable. Only Odysseus could know that. Only the man who built their life could respond with such outrage. The test was not cruelty, it was protection. Penelope had survived by suspicion. She would not abandon it at the door of reunion. When Odysseus described the bed in detail, anger dissolving into recognition, she knew. This was her husband. This was the man who had left. They did not collapse into naive romance. They wept. Their reunion was layered with memory, absence, transformation. Odysseus was no longer only warrior. He was a man aged by grief and loss. Penelope was no longer merely faithful wife. She was sovereign of her own endurance. Their love had been retested by time, and it held. What makes this myth powerful within the theme of love retested is that both are examined. Penelope proves loyalty through intelligence and restraint. Odysseus proves loyalty through return. He could have chosen immortality. She could have chosen survival through remarriage. Neither did. But the final test belongs to Penelope. She demands confirmation. True love in this myth is not blind. It is discerning. The Greeks understood that absence changes people. 20 years reshapes identity. Reunion requires verification. Odysseus passes not by strength of arms, but by memory of shared creation. The olive tree bed symbolizes rootedness. Their marriage was not portable. It was built into living earth. That bed becomes the proof that love was not illusion. After recognition comes rest. The Odyssey ends not with battle, but with quiet. Husband and wife speaking through the night, recounting trials, rebuilding connection. There is no suggestion that hardship disappears. There is suggestion that shared endurance deepens bond. Love here is not dramatic confession. It is remaining. It is returning. It is choosing again after everything has changed. Odysseus does not simply survive monsters. He survived temptation. Penelope did not simply wait. She strategized. Their reunion is mutual respect. In Greek culture, cunning and wisdom were virtues. Love that survives must possess both. The test again is not about suspicion destroying love. It is about love proving itself worthy of trust. And when it does, the kingdom stabilizes. The household breathes. The bed remains rooted. Story 2. Radha and Krishna. In Hindu tradition, love is not always measured by physical closeness. Sometimes it is proven through separation that refuses to diminish devotion. Radha and Krishna are among the most celebrated lovers in Indian devotional literature. Their story appears not as a single epic narrative like the Ramayana, but through poetry, song, and sacred texts such as Bhagavata, Purana, and later devotional works across centuries. Krishna, an avatar of Vishnu, spent his youth in Vrindavan, where he played the flute beneath moonlit trees and danced with the gopi, the cowherd maidens who adored him. But Radha was different. She was not merely one among many. She was devotion itself personified. When Krishna's flute sounded across the forest, the gopis left their homes. Radha left everything. The dance they shared, the Rasa Leela, was not just romance. It was cosmic union. Each gopi experienced Krishna as if he were dancing with her alone. Yet Radha's connection remained singular, intimate. Then Krishna left. He departed Vrindavana to fulfill his destiny in Mathura, to confront tyrants, to assume royal responsibility, to shape history. Radha remained. Unlike Odysseus and Penelope, this reunion does not occur in simple physical terms. In most traditional tellings, Radha and Krishna never marry. They do not establish a household. Their love exists in longing, not domesticity. This is the test. Radha could have hardened her heart. She could have allowed absence to convert devotion into resentment. Instead, her love deepened. In Bhakti devotional tradition, Radha becomes the embodiment of viraha, the sacred ache of separation. Her longing is not weakness, it is spiritual intensity. Krishna, too, is not untouched by distance. Though he fulfills royal duties and divine missions, Vrindavan remains a memory that defines him. The flute that once called Radha does not vanish. It becomes symbol. Their love is retested not by infidelity, but by destiny. Krishna's path leads outward into power and kingship. Radha's path remains inward in devotion. Neither abandons the other in spirit. In later devotional theology, Radha and Krishna are understood as two halves of the same divine reality: Shakti and Source, energy and consciousness. Their apparent separation is illusion. Yet the human story resonates because it mirrors real experience. Love does not always culminate in permanence. Sometimes it survives as remembrance that shapes identity. Radha does not demand proof of Krishna's loyalty through physical return. Her test is eternal. She continued to love when love is not visibly reciprocal in daily life. Krishna's test is equally subtle. Can he carry Radha within him while fulfilling obligations that pull him away? In devotional poetry by Jayadeva and Gita Govinda, their relationship includes moments of jealousy and reconciliation. Radha feels wounded when Krishna dallies with others. Krishna seeks her forgiveness. He pleads. He bows. This dynamic reveals something essential. Divine love is not static. It requires choosing again. When Krishna humbles himself before Radha in these poetic traditions, forgiveness becomes sacred. Radha does not forgive because she lacks power. She forgives because love is greater than pride. Krishna does not apologize because he is lesser. He does so because love requires humility. The test again is not distance alone. It is ego. Radha's devotion survives absence. Krishna's devotion survives power. Their reunion in devotional understanding is mystical rather than domestic. It occurs in consciousness, in worship, in song. Devotees believe that chanting Krishna's name invokes Radha's presence as well. Their love becomes template for divine human relationship. The soul longs for God as Radha longs for Krishna. God longs for the soul as Krishna longs for Radha. The test of love here is persistence without guarantee. Radha never receives formal security. Krishna never abandons his cosmic role. Yet their love shapes centuries of poetry, music, and theology. In Indian philosophy, separation intensifies awareness. Absence sharpens presence. The retesting of love becomes purification. Radha's fidelity is not proven by surveillance or trial by fire. It is proven by refusal to let love decay into bitterness. Krishna's fidelity is not proven by cohabitation. It is proven by return through remembrance and humility. When they reunite in song and spirit, the dance resumes. The flute sounds. The forest blooms. Love reveals itself not through possession, but through sustained devotion across change. Story 3, The Fox Bride. In Japanese folklore, love is not always tested by battle. Sometimes it is tested by revelation. Across centuries of oral storytelling in Japan, tales of the kitsuna, the fox spirit, have endured. Kitsuna are shapeshifters. They can take human form. They are clever, luminous, and often misunderstood. One widely told version of the fox bride tale, a man encounters a mysterious woman during a rainstorm. She is calm, composed, with eyes that seem older than her years. He offers her shelter. She stays. Affection grows. They marry. For years, they live peacefully. The woman is devoted, intelligent, gentle. She bears him children. Their household thrives. But there is one rule. He must never ask about her origins. He must never seek to uncover what she has not chosen to reveal. Time passes. Curiosity sharpens. Whispers from neighbors begin to coil around him. There are oddities. A reflection in water sometimes seems wrong. Dogs bark when she passes. One night, unable to quiet his doubt, he follows her secretly. In the forest, under moonlight, he sees her transform. Fur replaces skin. A fox stands where his wife had stood. The revelation shatters the boundary between trust and fear. In some versions, he cries out her name. In others, he confronts her upon return. The rule has been broken. The next morning, she prepares to leave. This is the test. The man must choose how to respond. In certain tellings, he recoils in horror. He accuses her of deception. Love dissolves beneath fear of the unknown. But in more compassionate variations, particularly those preserved in later Edo period storytelling, he does not condemn her. He weeps. He confesses that curiosity overcame him, not hatred. He admits his failure to trust. The fox bride speaks calmly. "I did not deceive you," she said. "I lived as your wife with sincerity. My form does not negate my devotion. She must return to the forest. The contract has been broken. The boundary between human and spirit reasserts itself. Yet before she departs, she leaves a final gift. Sometimes it is a child with fox-bright eyes. Sometimes it is protection from misfortune. Sometimes it is a whispered promise that she will watch over him from the hills. Love has been retested not by absence, but by revelation. The man must confront whether his affection was conditional upon sameness. He forgives her for what she is not. More importantly, he asks forgiveness for failing to honor the mystery she entrusted him with. In Japanese cultural imagination, fox spirits are liminal beings, bridges between worlds. They symbolize illusion, transformation, and the fragility of perception. The Fox Bride story asks a delicate question. Can love survive the moment when the beloved is revealed to be more complex than expected? Forgiveness here is not dramatic reconciliation. It is acceptance. The man must forgive himself for doubt. He must forgive her for withholding truth. And she, in turn, forgives him for breaking trust. In many versions, though she leaves physically, she continues to care for him unseen. His fields prosper. His household remains protected. The children grow strong. Love persists beyond form. The test again is not about betrayal in the traditional sense. It is about the tension between curiosity and trust. The man's fear could have curdled into violence. Instead, in gentler tellings, it softens into understanding. He does not chase her with weapons. He bows. He thanks her for the years shared. In Japanese aesthetics, particularly within Shinto-influenced folklore, harmony depends on respecting boundaries between realms. The man's mistake is not loving a fox spirit. It is insisting on exposing what was sacredly concealed. Forgiveness becomes a quiet recognition that love includes mystery. The fox bride's departure is not punishment. It is consequence. But consequence does not erase affection. He continues to remember her kindly. She continues to guard him invisibly. The test reveals that love is not ownership. It is reverence. In some regional versions, the man later sees a fox watching from the forest edge. Their eyes meet. No words are spoken. The recognition is mutual. Love does not always culminate in permanence. Sometimes it matures into gratitude. The fox bride tale retests love through identity. If the beloved is otherworldly, unfamiliar, beyond expectation, does affection endure? In the gentlest version of this myth, it does. Not because difference disappears, but because acceptance grows. Story 4, The Swan Maiden. In European folklore, love is not only tested by time or distance, it is tested by freedom. Across Germanic, Slavic, and Celtic storytelling traditions, the Swan Maiden tale appears with remarkable consistency. A hunter or traveler discovers a group of swan women bathing in a lake. They remove their feather cloaks to take human form. Without the cloak, they cannot fly. In one common version, a young man hides one maiden's cloak. When the others transform back into swans and rise into the sky, she cannot follow. He approaches her gently. He offers protection. Marriage follows. At first, their life together flourishes. She is graceful, capable, attentive. Children are born, the household prospers, but there is always something unspoken. The cloak remains hidden. Years pass. The man convinces himself that love has replaced captivity. He tells himself she has forgotten the sky, yet he keeps the cloak concealed. The test again is not immediate. It unfolds slowly. One day, while searching through chests or cleaning an attic space, she finds it. The feathered garment, the truth. In many tellings, she does not rage. She does not curse him. She simply understands. She has loved him sincerely. She has mothered their children faithfully. But her choice was never fully her own. When confronted, the man must respond. In harsher versions, he tries to restrain her again, repeating the original harm. She escapes regardless. In more reflective retellings, especially later literary adaptations, the man recognizes his wrongdoing. He confesses. He admits that he feared losing her, that he believed withholding her freedom ensured her love. He asks forgiveness. The Swan Maiden does not deny that love existed. She acknowledges it. But love without freedom cannot remain whole. Here, the theme of love retested becomes stark. Was their union sustained by devotion or by constraint? Forgiveness in this story is layered. She forgives him for fear. She does not excuse the act. In many gentler versions, she chooses to depart, yet leaves a path open. She tells him where she will dwell, perhaps by the lake at certain times of the year. Perhaps she promises to return during specific seasons. He is no longer her captor. He is now a man who must choose trust. In some variants, he releases the cloak voluntarily when he sees her sorrow. This moment transforms the story. By giving her freedom back, he retests the bond. And sometimes, though not always, she stays. Not because she must, because she chooses. European folklore often reflects anxieties around possession and partnership. The Swan Maiden myth warns against confusing control with love. The first test is deception. The second test is confession. The third test is release. True love in this tale is proven only when freedom is restored. If she flies away permanently, the story becomes tragic, but instructive. Love built on constraint dissolves when truth emerges. If she returns periodically or remains by choice, the love becomes purified. In Celtic adaptations, swan women are often linked to the otherworld, beings of liminal spaces between realms. To love them is to accept impermanence. The man must forgive himself for fear-driven action. He must forgive her for leaving. She must forgive him for binding her. Neither denies the years they shared. The children born of their union often serve as bridge between worlds, human and otherworldly. The retesting of love here centers on autonomy. Can love survive when the beloved is free to depart? If she stays only when her wings are returned, then love has transformed. If she flies away and never returns, then love becomes memory rather than possession. In many quieter retellings, the man later sees a swan circling above the lake. He no longer hides nets or cloaks. He watches without reaching. Forgiveness becomes restraint. Love becomes reverence. The Swan Maiden tale does not promise tidy reunion. It offers something more mature, the understanding that devotion cannot be sustained through secrecy. The test again is choice. When the cloak is restored, love stands before freedom. It reveals its true nature. Hey everybody, welcome back in. You're here with Jane and Mark at Folklore and Flourish. Today is the test again, love retested. Today again is February 20th. We are on the second to last day of week 3, love lost and found, in our month of sacred bonds, our month of love, love, love.
Love, 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 buddy.
So our lesson with those 4 stories is that true love proves itself in trials. The daily thread: love does not pass one trial and rest forever. Odysseus and Penelope proved devotion through patience and recognition. Radha and Krishna endure separation that tests humility and ego. The Fox Bride reveals that love must survive truth without fear. The Swan Maiden teaches that freedom is the final proof of devotion. True love is not proven once, but chosen again each time it is tested. We brought that up the other day of how, with Psyche and Eros, how we don't just fail once in a relationship. Sometimes, it's like a back-to-back. We just feel like we continue to fail.
Yeah,
And we really do rely on the grace of our partner sometimes. And this is another one where it is something that will be tested more than once. Sometimes we'll pass, sometimes we'll fail and have to maneuver together.
Yeah, it's like sometimes I have socks to wear to work and sometimes I don't.
And
But
sometimes I don't have dishes, but
but
most of the time I do. Go play games.
it's a nice roof.
It is. So better show some respect or you're gonna go and get you and your socks. Pull it together. This is a professional shoot.
Professionals.
We've heard about Odysseus and Penelope before. This one you get to hear that he did have a little bit of a fight to get in. The important note is that in this myth, love is not assumed upon return. It is tested, confirmed, and consciously chosen again after long separation. In this telling, Penelope, it's not only the information that Odysseus should know of the bed being made out of the olive tree and it can't be moved. And if someone did move it, that means they cut the tree. Right. So it wasn't just that he would know that information. It was the emotional response that she was paying attention to. Only someone who had known the history of their love and their bed would be enraged to come home and find that the bed was moved, right? And that, what are you even talking about? You know, so it wasn't just the information that it can't be, it was the emotional response.
Right.
So sometimes it has nothing to do with the words or what you know or the facts, but it really is the emotional response.
1,000,000%.
That people walk away with.
1,000,000%. It's, what do they say? Like, is it English language or is it just language in general? It's 90%. Like, it's only 10%.
Nonverbal.
Yeah, that's what it is. Nonverbal, verbal versus nonverbal.
I don't know what that is, but it's body language is like one of the biggest things.
Those two things are above words, honestly. And then I did like this story too. I thought it was cool that we hear that he fought on his way in, because I was like, every time we'd heard these stories, because these are the only times I've listened to most of these stories, is he just snuck in, because I'm always asking more questions. So what is it, you know? But now seeing we get to keep hearing more and more and more. By the time we get to the end of the year, I'm going to have to look up each story and really read the whole thing. But I don't really want to ruin it. I want to keep this flow going.
The last thing with Odysseus and Penelope, I said it the last time we heard it, but being wise enough to not jump too quickly at the conclusion when you've waited that long. She waited 20 years.
Right.
She had been threatened. She had been belittled. She had been probably groped up and down and stood strong and stood firm and was like, yeah, I'm not going to lose it at the end. I'm going to be sure without a doubt that it's him. That's like, you know, the total epitome of a power couple.
Right.
Because we see Odysseus's intelligence in the Trojan War, and then you see his wife's cunning, and it's like, this is a king and queen that loved each other and like ruled with intelligence, you know, and skill. Like all these things that they had, just well-rounded individuals.
Right. No, I truly did love that aspect and dynamic of it, for sure.
So, okay, so story 2, Radha and Krishna. This one, it says that in this tradition, love is retested through separation and humility. Devotion proves itself not by proximity, but by remaining steadfast through distance and ego, not always having to be hand in hand. You know, that's what this story just made me think the whole time. And I have a lot more to say about the last 2 stories. I remember re-listening to them. I was like, oh yeah, I had something to say about them. But this one, kind of how you brought up, like we need to have things that we do outside of each other too. Like it's important to remember that and to see stories where the love does survive because of the distance, you know, and to remember to love people through it, but also when we're in that distance, also allowing our ego and our pride to like be at peace, to be calm, because yeah, I can give you distance, but if I'm checking up or constantly asking you questions and wanting to know every detail about it, I'm not really giving you space, you know? And this one, it was kind of cool that it wasn't like she was just one maiden out there. She was with a group of them. It was a deliberate choice. It wasn't, we hear a lot of stories where it was just one person was there.
Yeah.
And that's who they're with. And all the fairy tale, you know, movies we watch, that's the only person that they ever meet.
Yeah.
He saw all of them and, you know, was playing around. And then this was different. This was devotion, you know, taking form. And that's what intrigued him. I don't know if we ever have control over who we love, who we click with right away. We have control over who we choose to love, but not necessarily who we fall in love with. Okay, this is why. So the third one. So this is the fox bride.
Yeah.
She just said, don't ask about my past.
Yep.
Because I'll tell you, you know, I'll have to share with you. Don't ask about it. Don't look into it. That I think is a fair request for partners to have.
Right.
Like there are some things that I think, people choose to keep it to themselves, and that's absolutely within their rights to do
And
that.
don't ask about the past was also following her into the forest. Like that must have fell within those parameters.
Right.
Because obviously that's how he found it, right?
Uh-huh.
But it doesn't say that.
But look into it. Right. That's what she means. Like, don't look into it. Don't investigate the things that I'm asking you to remain private. Just because some things are asked to be remained private, respect my privacy, doesn't mean it's a secret, necessarily in the grand scheme of I'm doing something wrong or I have to keep this information from you. Sometimes it is just, this is me. This is something I want for myself, or this is something that just I have to deal with,
Right.
Sometimes
But
it is.
yeah, but that is, I think, from my perspective, is this is showing you that you can't have that.
Right.
No matter what.
This story is.
There's quite a few, though, that are showing you, yes, you can have it for a while, but sooner or later that is going to come out.
Right, like where they show it through the curiosity and opening the box because we have this deep desire to know more. The curiosity, this is another Japanese one. I mean, that's a huge boundary in that culture, that we're seeing of. No, there are some things that are private, as we're seeing in their culture.
Right.
And
you were supposed to respect that.
right. And so I think sometimes, and when I listened to this story the second time, I thought, like, judging someone on what they've done, who they've been with, the things like they experienced before they met you.
Right.
Like, it was funny because in the show today, they mentioned that, where she's like, didn't he know, like, one day I may walk into the picture? Like, and he did all of this, and what was he going to say about it? Like, didn't he know that I may possibly one day show up? And it's like, that's how ridiculous it sounds.
Yeah.
What do you mean you lived your life before you met me?
Yeah. How dare you?
Right. And it's like, we don't need to hide from it. We also don't need to relish in it. I also think that just when you love someone and getting to know them over time, you do want to know about them. You are curious because what if you can help? Or what if it's something that you like too?
Yeah.
What if it's something you have in common that you didn't know about? Or what if it's something that's completely different that you can grow with?
Yeah. Like, what if that person had no idea about it or never tried it, and then since you like it, they're like, you like it, so maybe I'll try it.
And
They try it with you, or maybe it's something you want to keep to yourself, but share your excitement in it.
Right.
Because maybe they'll share some of that back.
Yeah, maybe just teach me about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it would also be hard to be with someone for so long and to know that they don't want you involved in that piece of them.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, that is hurtful.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the intentions were, right? It was her secrecy. But as the partner that doesn't know, all I think, regardless of the comforts that could be said to me, I might believe that it's for my benefit, like you're saying, but you still deliberately don't want me to be part of it, which means in some way I'm not capable of helping. I'm not capable of dealing with it. You don't trust me with it. You're not comfortable. You're not comfortable with yourself, which makes me feel bad because I want you to be open, right? So there's that huge aspect of it too. And I think that's why I share things with you and why I always ask things of you, is because I want you to feel like you can share, and I am excited about stuff.
Right. So what I heard about, like, while you were saying that, though, is a lot of, just for people to keep, like, in mind, not me necessarily saying this to you, but people listening, is when you were hearing, like, with what Jane was saying, is a lot of it is like how me and I, like, you got to understand that that was how you're feeling. It's not necessarily the actual energy in it, too. You do have to remember that aspect of it. It's
Like
not
what the secret is?
Yeah, it's not
Yeah, no,
necessarily
that's just what I feel.
right. And I'm just saying for the people listening is like, understand that it's not for everybody. Like that sometimes it could be, you know, something totally different. But all those feelings that you're having of the possibilities of it could be this, and this is possibly something inside of yourself.
The important note for that one too is that love is retested when hidden identity is revealed. Forgiveness becomes acceptance of mystery rather than demand for sameness. So sometimes there are some mysteries that we keep, you know, like how they say to keep things spicy, sometimes you do got to keep the mystery with your private, like, you know, feminine energy, masculine energy, or whatever you're in. All right, story 4, the Swan Maiden. Okay, so we've seen this one a couple times where the animal skin is taken and they can't change back. It's just a really sad story.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where it has to be acknowledged that you can't have consent under false pretenses. There cannot be. She was trapped. It wasn't a choice, you know, choosing to be with him, because she had to.
Yeah, because he acted like a savior.
And so under false pretenses, now she didn't know and she loved him. You know, that love was there. They had
For
children.
the hero. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she finds it. Let's go with the first scenario where she finds it. And just she understands because that made me truly believe the understanding was, because I wouldn't have stayed. I wouldn't have had this life. I'm grateful for this life, but I get why he hid it, because I'm grabbing it with this life I have and I'm leaving. So I get it. Then there's the alternative other story where he gives it to her. And in that one, he gives her the choice to where she still gave gratitude to the love that was there. And while you were that piece of you that was that hero, that clearly was authentic. Because you knew at the end of the day what you did was wrong. You gave me a choice before it was too late, before I found it. You know, so that door was still open. But that, you know, taking away people's escapes or taking away people's way out, that's not getting consent, you know, because sometimes just people have to survive. And that's what she did. And it's kind of sad that she was taken away from the sky. I just think this story is really sad. Like, not only a piece of her was taken, but the freedom of like flight, you know, the symbolism of that in itself is so much more painful. Like, she's chained down. And the second that she found it, the second that it was given back, what we had, it was what we had, but
it was fun while it lasted.
This is where I belong. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is home. And
I feel that, like, kind of wrapped up in that type of, hey, this was, you know, what it was for when it needed. It was what I needed it to be for as long as I needed it to be, but now it's time for something else. I feel that. Like, I feel that's where I'm at in life, you know. This place where I'm at is what it needed to be for as long as it needed to be, but now it's time to go, you know.
And that's what story 1 and story 4 full circle. Odysseus was offered immortality.
Yeah.
But it wasn't home. So he went home.
I loved that line.
He went home to love. Yeah, so he went home to love. In this 4th story, it was the opposite, you know. It was her self-identity that was worth leaving, you know, for. So she too acknowledged this isn't home. It's not real to me. And I think that that's a beautiful aspect for both the story with Odysseus and this one is I could pity you because you're going to be in pain when I leave, or I could stay and be miserable. And, you know, I may be happy, but it's not where I should be. And then allow you to feel whatever you may feel about that, which is probably not going to be great. Knowing that you're only staying because you don't think I can make it on my own, or you love me, or you're giving, you know, it's a sacrifice you don't want your partner to make. Yeah, I want you to make it. I want you to be with me, to sacrifice who you are. That's hard. But those are 4 stories. So with those, our question of the day is, would I choose love again? So our question we're going to walk away with is the test again. Would I choose it again? Because love is a choice every single day. So would I choose to love again? And then our activity for today is we're going to endure one small discomfort today without resisting or avoiding it. So we're actually going to endure it. One small discomfort. I've been trying to get more better with the cold. I've been standing out and breathing in cold air every now and then.
Oh, that's good. That's good for you.
And it's not a long time.
You should go out there, take your shoes off, take your socks off.
I'm not going to do that.
Shorts.
No.
And just go sit in the snow, go make a snowman.
No.
Barefooted. And then it's just like a cold plunge.
No.
Yeah, it's good for your brains or something. Makes your skin tight, I think.
Not with the ice. My skin will get ripped off with the ice. Anyways, you're going to endure one small discomfort today without resisting or avoiding it. And then we are going to remember that true love reveals itself in the willingness to remain after testing. True love will remain. It doesn't say that love will. Love sometimes leaves when it knows it's not long haul love. Some of these today weren't. Some of these were under false pretenses or difficult circumstances. Others were endured the test regardless of the distance and the time. They chose it through separation. That requires both souls to really be in it. That's a vow. I made a vow, so did they. They're putting in, I'm putting in. It's no question about it. And that's what they did, and I just really like it. Anyways, that's all we have for you today. Tomorrow is our last day of week 3, right? And then we're in our final week of February already. Wow. Tomorrow is the healing. Love lost and found, the healing. Remember your activity today. Remember to think about, would I choose love again? And we will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for coming in.
See you guys. Love you.